My daughter's teacher stole her phone and failed to recognize her panic attack during class. My daughter 16F, new Spanish teacher, refuses to let any students have their phone in class and collects them at the door. She believes that students will just use their phones to cheat and won't let any students stay in her class unless they give her their phones. The problem with that is that my daughter went through a traumatic experience in middle school and has been unable to be away from her phone since. Basically, her middle school went into lockdown, and all her teacher and fellow students knew was that there might be an active shooter on campus. My daughter texted me absolutely terrified, and as I tried to figure out what was going on, I got dozens of texts from my daughter's phone. They were all messages her classmates wished for me to share with their families if anything happened to them. It was heartbreaking. The lockdown was lifted after an hour of silence, and I learned later there was gunfire reported nearby. I will always be grateful that's all it was. Since that day, she has been unable to part from her phone because she's terrified something like that might happen again, and she wants to be able to contact me. She said panic attacks before when her phone dies unexpectedly. She is currently in therapy and working past it, but for now I told her that if a teacher ever has an issue, to just say I have a rule that she must have her phone on her at all times. It's never been a problem, until now. When the teacher asked for my daughter's phone, she explained she can't part with it. It turned into a back and forth, so my daughter said she'd be willing to go to the principal's office and have them call me, but she couldn't give up her phone. Instead of listening, her teacher snatched my daughter's phone away and told her to go sit down. My daughter listened to her and told me later that she tried really hard to use breathing tactics her therapist taught her, but in the end, the idea of being in a classroom with no access to her phone terrified her too much, and she had a horrible panic attack. Apparently, the teacher ignored her and told other students to ignore her tantrum until one of her friends yelled that she needed to go to the nurse. The teacher told them to stop being so dramatic and focus on her lesson. My daughter's friend ended up grabbing my daughter and walking out of the classroom to go to the nurse's office. Thankfully, everything ended up okay, and the nurse let her hold on to her own cell for a while, which calmed her down. They called me to inform me of what happened, but said I needed to come in to discuss my daughter's behavior issues before school let out. Apparently, her new teacher felt incredibly disrespected by my daughter and was insisting on having a group meeting with my daughter and her friend with their parents. During the meeting, she laid out what happened, and I explained it was important my daughter keep her phone, and while she should have communicated better, I stand by her decision. The teacher insisted that both my daughter and her friend get detention for their disrespect, but all of us thought that was ridiculous. The parents of the friend said their daughter was only helping a friend and did nothing wrong, and I agreed. The principal tried to be a mediator between us, but it only got worse as we asked for our daughter's phones back, and the teacher refused, saying until our daughters could learn to respect the rules, she would not be giving anyone their phones back. I was furious and threatened to call the police on her for theft, and the teacher tried to say that she had misplaced the phones anyway, so it would be a while before she could find them. I said this entire thing is ridiculous and asked if my daughter could just switch classes. The Spanish teacher said she wasn't okay with that, as that would be showing failure and teaching my daughter that it's okay to always get your way. She said either my daughter comes to class, follows the rules and does the work, or she would fail her right there and then. I asked the principal if he agreed with everything she said, and he told the teacher that wasn't something she could just do. I had had enough at that point, so I dialed 911 right there in front of everyone and spoke to the operator, explaining that my daughter's teacher had stolen my daughter's phone and was refusing to return it. That got the principal to actually do something and insisted the teacher go get the phones right away. After she left, I explained nicely and calmly that my daughter would be moved into another class immediately to fulfill her credit requirements, or I would be speaking to the board about how a teacher ignored a child having a medical emergency and how the principal sided with the teacher as well. The other parents agreed with me and said they'd better do the same for their daughter as well. Suffice to say, my daughter now has her phone back and will be starting French class soon.